In this week's channeled message from the angels, they are letting us know that these times that we are in are some of the most difficult times, and that the times that we are in are accelerating, that things are going to get harder before they get better. And they're asking us in this message to not let ourselves get sucked in, to not let the difficulty around us pull us out of our spiritual journey, because it's going to be tough. It's a difficult thing in general to rise to the spiritual perspective, but it is even harder when you are surrounded by potentially chaos. So welcome back to my channel, you guys. On that happy note, welcome back. But it's a beautiful message. You guys are going to love it. It actually is extremely uplifting message. So, for those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Ann Tucker. I'm a trance channel. I channel by going into a deep meditative state or trance. And from that deep state, I raise my awareness up as high as I can go. And then I go a little bit higher and I connect, and then messages and information come through, and I share it here with you guys on YouTube. So like I said, today's message, it's a beautiful one. I had to spend some extra time with this message because it's layered. It has a lot. I don't know, maybe it was just me, but I felt like I'd really benefited by going more deeply. So as usual, my format is I will play the original channeling. I channeled it yesterday, and then we will break it down and talk through the whole message. So yeah, and I do find I get a lot more out of it, and many of you do, I know, as well, which is awesome. So before I dive into the message, I want to let you guys know about two weekend events that some friends of mine are putting on that I think you guys might be really interested in. So the first one is my friend Michael Sheridan he teaches dream analysis. And you guys, if you've been with me for a while, you know I talk about my dreams all the time, that it is one of the primary ways I listen to and I get information about my own healing journey. My dreams are always telling me, especially they'll tell me the minute I eat something I'm not supposed to eat. It's always like, you ate cheese, like if I get it snuck into my diet somehow. But they also will tell me, big thing here is they will tell me what is coming up for me to heal. So anyways, I learned the method of dream analysis that I use from Michael Sheridan. It is the only method I have found that works, you guys. It is amazing. His method will turn everything you have learned about dream analysis on your head. And it confirms itself. So you'll know you are listening to your own higher guidance. Anyways, he has a free summit this weekend. So you do have to put a deposit down to hold your space, but you get it back. So he refunds it afterwards. So anyways, I just want to let you know, because you guys know I really believe in his work. And yeah, and I just wanted to make it available. It's this weekend. So hopefully you have time. Even if you can just go to part of it, you will learn a lot, and then you'll get the recording for the whole thing. So why not? Anyway, so here is the link to his thing. He gave a link with my name on it, so he knows you came from me, which makes me happy. I'm not gaining anything from it. I truly am just recommending it because it's something I truly believe in. So, but yeah, I would love for you guys to go. So there's a link, and it's in the description box. Phenomenal workshop. It's all weekend long and super cool. Not only will he talk about, how his method works and what it is, but he will be doing live dream analysis. So if you're there, you might be able to get some of your dreams analyzed by him in the process. So super, super cool. So, okay, so that's Michael's event. I think this weekend, starting actually this afternoon. So I'm going to get this video up, and you guys could literally join in immediately after. So I think he starts, literally today is the beginning. So, and there's the link right there, dreamanalysis.com/Ann. That'll take you right to it. So you guys can sign up and go. All right. So that is that. Now, I also want to let you guys know about another event, which is coming November 11th through 16th. And on this one, I was so thrilled when Alex reached out and invited me to be part of this summit, Wisdom from Beyond. And it's coming up November 11th through 16th. So I'll show you guys. Let me just share the webpage with you guys so you can see what it's all about. So, and the reason I want to share it with you guys is because I think it's actually a really good deal. It's when I saw it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is actually really cool. So not that I didn't think it was gonna be, but I extra think so now. So here are all the people that are part of it. Daryl Anka, Sheila Gillette. You may know a lot of these people, Paul Selig, Alex, of course, Sarah Landon, Jeff Hope, and me. And but what's really cool is, so it's $297. It's a 6-day summit, but it's a huge amount of content you're getting. 6 90-minute sessions with, and then there's a live Q&A for each one. And then the thing I thought was really, really cool is, in addition to all of that, you also get Where is it down here? You also get this bonus material. So I thought, wow, this is actually a great deal. You're getting sessions, meditations. I included, my bonus is awesome. I included a 90-minute healing. It was the bonus I added in as a meditation, healing meditation with the angels, which is a phenomenal session, I got to say. But look at that. I'm not there's everybody. There's these great sessions from all of these different channels. So anyways, this is a super cool event. So I wanted to include it for you guys. I have a link for that one as well, which I will include here and then also in the description box if you want to go to that. Two amazing weekend events. Michael's is this weekend coming up, and then Alex's summit is coming up November 11th through 16th. So anyways, great things I wanted to share with you guys from two guys I really like a lot. So all right, let's go ahead and dive into the message.
Beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Blessed beings, we are where you are from. We are from the beginning of all things. We are the orchestration of time where you are. We are the assemblage of meanings. We can draw to you now into form what you would have known. We can bring into your endowment of grace a life you would lead. We are the orchestration of angelic beings. We are the form they would take and surrender to. We are the light that inspires you. We are the fragrance of all memory. We would instruct you in the timescape of happenings and what is to come. We would draw this into perspective to bring you meaning of difficult things. We would bring to you an understanding of how this earth quakes, of how she rattles to extol her own wounding. We would share with you now the fragrance of our own soul, so that you may encounter these days ahead in more peace, in the sense of yourselves as held within grace always, to know you are never lost, and all that does occur is held within the umbrella of love. That which is spacious and evolves to support you now, evolves for the soul to express itself. There is within yourselves an empty ache to be seen. And this evolution you are undertaking provides for the soul that expression, that evolution that it craves. It draws through you and into form what is the greater part of your own truth. And this we would pronounce for your own comprehension. To perceive all that is occurring is no less than this. It is the earth as she expresses herself. It is these times and their concluding forces coming into celebration of their own experience. It is all things as they would be remembered at their highest pitch, at their greatest intrusion, at their loudest assembly. It is all things coming to be mired in the context of themselves. And you must pass through this. You must lift yourselves into the fragrance of a new time from the perspective of one who has been embroiled in the conundrums of the difficult formations of life. With the experiences you have been having, all that pours through you into the new now will come within the context of burdens and burdensome thinking. And this you must be aware of, that there is now the opportunity to divorce yourselves from these thoughts and feelings, that you may shake them off, discard what is not healing. There can be the remembrance of these things, yes, but to take them on as formative for the soul can no longer be tolerated as you move into the higher perspective. Thus, we would say, as you pass through the journey that lies ahead, become now no more dormant to what is interior to yourselves. Let all things fly free from within. Become embroiled not, surrender in no way to the cacophony of chaotic voices that experience this churning that must be made, but feel within your own heart there is an elevating that must permeate the very fabric of your soul. And within that space of elevation, that which cannot be remembered within the context of a new framework must be abandoned. We speak to you now of the occurrences that are coming and of your own safekeeping. We speak to you how you would elongate the times that are forming around you. It is the burdensome thinking of one who has suffered to anticipate suffering. Thus, we would ask the selves, not this. We would say to the selves, speak unto your new tomorrows from the perspective of one who anticipates joy. Be within the framework, the mindscape of one who feels their earth a settlement of celebration. Interpose upon the landscape of turmoil your own suggestive fragrance of peace. Be within the hearing of your own whispers, and languish not in what is external. Be not that soul who suffers what is. Be the soul that creates what becomes. It is from you, that the new world emerges. We would say that what is to transpire need not break the rhythm of your own hearts. It need not dim the light of your own joy. You can rise above what is. This is not to say that there will not be disconcerting news. An element of surprise is waiting to be yielded. There must be the upsetting of things that are relied upon. And these occurrences are formulated not in the specific, but in the general guidance of a world that must right itself, that has been within the doldrums of missed opportunity and must come again into harmony with itself, as if a boat has turned over and comes again into its own internal balance, righting itself. We say that in the context of this earth, there shall be turmoil of a physical kind. There shall be upsetting news which shall distance yourselves from one another. There shall be the anticipation of greater war and separation among nations and peoples. There shall be an economic unfurling as disastrous as any you've anticipated. And for this, we are sorry. We understand that the souls, as you are made in this plane, have an experience of needing certainty, have an experience of wishing upon all things for preparation to be resolved within your own needs, your own families, your own endowments. And we would say, why the blessing of these times can always be felt. It is because there is not the same need in the empowered state of your own becoming. There's not the need to anticipate, to generate harmony from within your own actions, from within your own opportunity, created from within your own intelligence. There is instead the ability to remain within the freedom of your own exuding nature and within the space of your own happiness. You create a world without friction. We say that these angularities, which you will be experiencing, are not for long. They are the twisting of a world that must right itself. It cannot be done. It must be gone through. It must be celebrated for what it is, as an endowment, as a space of experience and expression. What has long been undone and unknown must rise to the surface to be seen. And these experiences, though disturbing in some cases, and we are in a great orchestration of our own experience of your suffering in these places of anguish on this plane of experience. But we would say that despite these saddening times, there will be the rise of your own space and spaciousness. There will be the sense of yourself as becoming more free. And how you will feel this within the context of what appears to be limitation, we can only say that the one justifies the next, that in the experience of the turmoil, there is yet more to be found of your own soul. There is the freedom of your own feelings, the sensation of your own heart being met by one another, the anguish of these times that are passing has been the limitation of your own context, your separation, your individuality. It has brought you nearer to your own soul and farther from each other. And in the context of these new framings, you shall find a new kind of freedom, a new kind of peace amongst one another. And loneliness shall no longer bind you to yourselves. We wish to place upon you a blessing for those who are encountering grief, for those who are unsettled within your own homes and without friendship, for those who have been brought to their knees in these times and these contexts. The rigidity of this world is crumbling, and these structures that have been relied upon are no longer meeting the demands of an earth that reaches for freedom. And you are this, you are this, you are speaking into the wind, free me, and you are heard. So Beautiful message, like amazing, beautiful message. It definitely, for me, this one takes breaking down 100% because it's beautiful. And I don't know, for what reason, it took me time to let this one sink in all the way. And now I feel like it's just crystal clear, but it took me a while to get there. So I don't know for you guys if you were like, yeah, I got it, I'm good. Or if you were like, yeah, let's talk about it. Because it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And there's a ton of depth to it. Yeah, absolutely amazing. And Diana's pulling out one of my favorites. Yeah, be the soul that create what becomes, right? Yeah, I love that line. You guys know me, I got like lines and highlights all over the thing because it's just, yeah, there's so many things that jump out to me, absolutely. And Leslie says chills with that last sentence. I know, me too, right? Yeah. I love it. And Michelle, thank you. I had an amazing time with my daughter. It was so great to come back to visit. Yeah, I loved it. First time I've been back since she moved. She's come here since then, but first time going back to her for a year. So it was awesome. Super awesome. So let's break the message down. So, because there's like I said, there's a lot in this one, and I love it because I always come up with new. I see it differently when we talk about it. I get more of a depth of understanding about it. So, I hope you guys do too. So here we go. So for the first paragraph, they're talking about their relationship to us, and they say, "Blessed beings, we are where you are from." So in other words, they are currently in the place that we come from. They say, we are where you are from. And then they say, we are from the beginning. So they come from the beginning of everything, the beginning, the Big Bang, the first moment of everything existing. That's where they were born. The angels are born there. They say, we are from the beginning of all things. We are the orchestration of time where you are. So orchestration means the planning or coordination of elements, right? The arrangement of, it's also called an arrangement of music. They always use music analogies. I'm not a musical person, but they are, and they use music stuff all the time. And then it means a harmonious organization. So they're all about harmony, right? Which is awesome. So think about that. So they don't create time, but they organize the things inside of time, right? The planning or coordination of elements inside of time. We are the orchestration of time where you are. So this is relating to that idea that they've given us before, that we are radiating our song into the world, right? We are saying, this is who I am, and these are all the notes of my song, all the elements of who I am that I now want to see in my reality. And all of those elements, like there's lots of things that could be in resonance with our frequency. So, and some of those things will be in alignment with our greatest good, and some won't, right? It may be that you are resonating, I need some free time. I need a break from work, and the things that could be in resonance with getting a break from work could be a really bad bout of food poisoning, or it could be like a discount on a plane ticket. And like the angels are going to be like, okay, kick out of the way. We don't want her to get the food poisoning. We do want her to get the plane ticket. So like that's kind of how it works. So they are out there in the outfield, like organizing or arranging what our experience is going to be based on what they know from our higher selves, and what is in alignment with where we need to go, what is going to bring us there, right, in the best way for our highest and best good. They are the orchestrators. Really cool to understand how they play with us, and how they help us to create our world and our lives. So they go on to say we are the assemblage of meanings. So this is interesting because as we are having our experiences, we are creating meaning in our life. So they're partner to us in that. How do we create meaning from life? It's by what are the experiences that we're having? How are we bringing those in? How are we incorporating those into our life? They say that, so they're helping us with all of that. They say, we can draw to you now into form what you would have known. So in other words, they're able to bring us things, able to bring us experiences, parking spaces. Yes, you help, the angels can help you manifest parking spaces and all kinds of things, right? You just got to say it out loud, speak to them. But yeah, they can bring us things into our life. We can bring into your endowment of grace a life you would lead. We are the orchestration of angelic beings. So in other words, they plan, they're like, angels, there's so much in this one paragraph. They've talked to us a lot about what an angel is. And angels are a unity consciousness, which is why once they gave me a name, but ever since then they've said just call us angels, because they are an essence that is everywhere. When I hear about like dark matter, I think I wonder if that's angels, because it's everywhere, and angels are everywhere. They're an essence that is everywhere. And they haven't said that they're dark matter, but I wonder, you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of thing that they are. They are everywhere. But but they can come into form as and within that unity consciousness, it would be just like if we became a unity consciousness, we would be one, but within that consciousness would be all of us. Like, I would still be in there as a personality, as an identity, but I would also belong to the whole. So within the collective of angels, there is Archangel Michael and Archangel Gabriel, but they are also one. And when you call on them, you can have the orchestration of Archangel Michael, right? You can bring the elements of Archangel Michael into form. So that's what they're saying. We are the orchestration of angelic beings. So as we call on them, that's them. And they say we are the form they would take and surrender to. So they're clarifying, yep, that we can be Archangel Michael, or we can be Archangel Gabriel, or whichever angel you're calling on. We are the light that inspires you. We are the fragrance of all memory. That's a fascinating one. So what makes me think of is if they are organizing the elements of our experience, then they are creating memories, right? So they are saying, okay, by de facto, by the fact that they're creating what, or helping to discern what comes to us, that is the process of creating memories for us. Yeah, amazing, right? Helping us to remember what we're going to remember after we go through life. So anyways, fascinating first paragraph, right? But it's just talking about this is who an angel is. And I think they just, who knows why they brought it up today, but I love it that they did. All right, so then they go on to say, we would instruct you in the timescape of happenings and what is to come. We would draw this into perspective to bring you meaning of difficult things. So I think that's probably why, is because I think in the first paragraph, they're talking about helping us to create meaning. And that now I get it. So see, this is what happens. I talk to you guys and it makes sense to me. They're saying, okay, the first paragraph, they help us to create meaning. Now they're saying, they're going to help us to create meaning about what's coming. And I think it also relates to this because we have to understand they're helping us to decide what comes into our experience and what doesn't. So they're going to help us to bring meaning to difficult things. We would bring you to an understanding of how this earth quakes, of how she rattles to extol her own wounding. So here they're referencing, yes, earthquakes, but it's really, I think it's like all of the things of the world, like everything in our lives being shaken up. It is the frog in the boiling pot, that we're just in a place right now where the world is getting more and more and more and more chaotic, right? The earth is quaking. Yeah. And then they go on to say, we would share with you now the fragrance of our own soul so that you may encounter these days ahead in more peace, in the sense of yourselves as held within grace always, to know you are never lost, and all that does occur is held within the umbrella of love. So this again makes sense of the first paragraph. Why would they tell us that they're helping us to create our experience? They're saying here, you are always held in the umbrella of love, that you're never lost, that they're helping us, right? And that whatever comes to us, whatever we experience will be in alignment with our highest and best according to our higher selves, right? So they'll guide us and help us through. So I love it. Yeah, I wasn't fully understanding that until now in terms of how these three paragraphs related. So that is awesome. And so here they're saying they're going to try to help us to see what's coming through their perspective, right? Super, super cool. So then they go on to say, that which is spacious and evolves to support you now evolves for the soul to express itself. So when they say here, that which is spacious and evolves to support you, they're talking about, I think here they're talking about the new reality. That is the new reality as we're stepping into it, and we are getting bombarded with light right now. So lots of us are shifting already. Like we're moving into higher and higher states of consciousness, and we're not at the biggie. They've said that we can't be in the new frame of reality until it exists on Earth, right? That we are going to co-create it when we get there. But we are all definitely moving up the ladder. We are getting to higher and higher states, and as we do, it becomes more spacious, right? It's like there's less. It's like almost like how there's no in space. There's no friction at all. Like if you throw a ball in space, it will just move forever and nothing stops it. It's like it's more spacious. It's spacious. So, they say that the higher we get, it's like there's less and less friction in our world. So there feels like there's more opportunity for us. Things happen more easily. Our lives are more in flow. It's just life becomes more spacious and easy. And so they're saying this is evolving for the soul to express itself. So this is where we're headed, to a new reality where it becomes really about expression of our soul. And they say there is within yourselves an empty ache to be seen. So this is fundamental to what it is to be human, right? To be alive is the desire to express what's inside of us, the divinity that's inside of us. And they say, and this evolution you are undertaking provides for the soul that expression, that evolution that it craves. It draws through you and into form what is the greater part of your own truth. So they're saying this is sort of the point of our choosing to be here right now, is because we are going to be moving into this wonderful higher state where more and more of our higher self can come through us, and the divinity inside of us can express itself. So this is what's exciting about where we're headed. Then they say, okay, so that exact same desire to express ourselves, that everybody has it, like not just humans, but the earth, the trees, the flowers, everything that is all consciousness is living with the desire, that inner ache, the desire to be seen and to express themselves. So they're saying, okay, so we feel this, now understand that that's everything. So they say, and this we would pronounce for your own comprehension to perceive. All that is occurring is no less than this, which is the desire to express itself. It is the earth as she expresses herself. It is these times and their concluding forces coming into celebration of their own experience. It is all things as they would be remembered, at their highest pitch, at their greatest intrusion, at their loudest assembly. It is all things coming to be mired in the context of themselves, and you must pass through this. Right? So it is saying, so that is kind of what we're going through right now, is we have been in this process of the deepest polarization and they're saying, okay, these times that we're in right now we have to go hard. We are in the last phases of the crazy of this period of an enormous polarity. So that means it's like the crescendo at the end of a song where like all the drums are playing and all the instruments are playing, and it's like this is the crescendo in the music. The loudest part is what we're going through, and all of it has to express itself. It's like last call at the bar, everybody go get your last drinks, right? It is like, now is the time. Don't wait. You gotta, and like everything has to express itself. So it's like they're saying it's loud, and it's gonna get louder with all of these different energies all trying to come to the surface at once, right? And they're saying, and you have to pass through this. So they're saying it's not going to be easier in the short term. It's going to be harder because the world is going to get louder. So yeah, crazy, right? And Rebecca's saying polarization and separation is insanity. It really is. And Kim says cacophony. That's one of their favorite words, is cacophony. I mean, it's a great word. I had to look it up the first time they used it, but they've used it like 5 or 6 times. And it's like a chaotic, crazy amount of noise. And it's all the different instruments. I think they use it because it's kind of like a musical term, because it's like all the instruments, like when you hear them tuning up and they're all playing randomly and not together. So it's what I think of when they say that word. So I think that's why they like it. It's it's like an evocative word, and it really brings up a feeling, I think. Yeah, angel word of the week. Totally. Yeah, I agree. But they have used it in the past. I probably have heard them say that like 5 or 6 times in the last like 4 years, 5 years. So it's a good word. I like it. Not like I'm going to go like work it into my vocabulary as I'm walking around like, ooh, this is a cacophony. Yeah, but it's cool here in the context of their message. Anybody that works that into their vocabulary this week gets a prize. I don't know what it is yet. We'll come up with something. But okay. So anyways, so the key thing here is that we have to pass through this louder and louder environment. So you must lift yourselves into the fragrance of a new time from the perspective of one who's been embroiled in the conundrums of the difficult formations of life. So they're saying, so we have to lift ourselves up. We're supposed to be reaching these higher states of consciousness, but we're supposed to be doing it. And it's not during normal times, it's during the worst of times. So they're saying this is like double down as hard as it can be, right? They're saying, okay, guess what? You have to raise up to your highest frequency while the earth is turning into chaos around you. That's what they're saying. They're acknowledging like you have to pass through this crazy times, right? So they're saying with the experiences you have been having, all that pours through you into the new now will come within the context of burdens and burdensome thinking. So in other words, everything we're trying to create it from where we are now. And where we are now is a karmic reality where we are filled with burdens and burdensome thinking. So they're saying this is what we're trying to grow from, and it's not easy. It's like trying to grow out of, chaos. And they say, and this you must be aware of, that there is now the opportunity to divorce yourselves from these thoughts and feelings, that you may shake them off, discard what is not healing. So we know that we're in a period right now where they're saying this is the time for healing. That right now that there is all of this chaos that's around us is forcing our issues to the surface to be healed. And every little bit of progress that you make as a soul right now, and progress means understanding yourself. It is taking all of the sort of disavowed, hidden, pushed down things about yourself, and those could be memories, they could be experiences of things that you have done or things that have been done to you or whatever it is. And letting them all come home. Like all the things that you have disavowed, saying, I don't want to think about that, right? Letting them all come home again. Because when you do, you understand yourself more richly. And so we're in this process right now where where the environment is collaborating to help us see ourselves stronger than we ever have. And they're saying, so this is a time we want to heal, but there may be things that are just too deep or that are too hard or that you don't have time. You may be working your hardest, but there may be some things that you just cannot get to. And so if that happens, if there's things that are not healing, we will get to a space where we will be able to shake them off. And that doesn't mean, unfortunately, it doesn't mean that we get the healing from them, but it means we can move on into this higher state of consciousness. In other words, we do not have to be perfect to move into the higher state. The way I've been talking about it is that we have been in the earth, and the earth is like an earth school, and we have a textbook, which is like the textbook of your karma and your lives and your all the things, and karma not being anything that anybody judged you. It's the way that we have judged ourselves, right? The things we don't want to experience about ourselves. We have this textbook, and we have been trying to work through the textbook and learn about ourselves as much as we can. But there's going to become a moment with the flash of light that's coming where it's like, okay, it's go time, and you may not have the whole book read. And they're saying, okay, that's okay. You can set the book down. And all that means is you will have taken all the knowledge that you can for this go round from that book. And you will have to put the book down and learn it another way, learn it in some other method. But it doesn't mean that we get to take all the knowledge. We only take as much as we've been able to heal in this lifetime. So it's two things here. One is heal as much as we can right now, which is why so many of you are doing soul convergence. Yay! Because we love it and it works and it heals us and it helps us to integrate all these things. But there's going to be some stuff we can't get to. It's because none of us are perfect, and that we will be able to separate from and leave behind and move into the higher state of consciousness. So super, super cool. So we do not have to be perfect when the flash of light comes, right? We will be able to shake them off, discard whatever is not healing. Then they say there, and so the key thing here is they're trying to say, as we move forward through these paragraphs, you'll see what they're trying to say is they don't want us to get stuck in our karma as we are going through this process. They don't want us to get pulled into the chaos. Is they want us to move through it, right? To recognize, to heal as we go through it, and then to eventually, as a flash of light comes, separate from our karma. They say there can be the remembrance of these things, yes, but to take them on as formative for your soul can no longer be tolerated as you move into the higher perspective. So in other words, we will still have our memories of our wounds and memories of the difficulties we've been through, but we can no longer bring that karma with us, that we have to separate from the negative, from the heavy emotions. Right? Thus, we would say, as you pass through the journey that lies ahead, become now no more dormant to what is interior to yourselves. Let all things fly free from within. So this is the idea of all things fly free. Some will be because you integrate them. Some will be because you set them down, right? And so this is the idea that as we move through, they don't want us to get lost. And it will become easy to get lost in our wounds during these difficult times because there will be a lot to trigger us. And that's what they're trying to tell us, that it's going to get louder. The difficulty is going to get, the triggers are going to get louder. So we have to be all the more present to this idea of not letting it suck you in. Yeah, here they say, become embroiled not. Surrender in no way to the cacophony of chaotic voices that experience this churning that must be made. But feel within your own heart there is an elevating that must permeate the very fabric of your soul. And within that space of elevation, that which cannot be remembered within the context of a new framework must be abandoned. So this is that idea. They're saying when the moment comes, when we are separating from what is, don't be lost in the fear. Let it go. Just literally, even if the fear starts to rise, just be in that space and just let it wash over you. Let it wash through you. Right here, they say shake it off, right? Let all things fly free. if fear rises, just be like, I see my fear. I'm with my fear. I love my fear. Just feel it. Feel as hard as you can. Like, don't judge it. That's how we don't push it down. That's the key. When things become crazy, the human reaction is to try to push away the negative feelings and run away from the experience we're having, right? We try to deny the experience we are having, and that is what perpetuates the experience that we're having. So what they're trying to tell us to do is to be in the experience that we're having, witness it, and witness your own reaction to it, and have that reaction as strongly as you can, but have it from the space of observing your reaction. Like you can be like, yeah, I'm freaking out right now. I'm super scared. Okay, be with my fear. I'm just going to let that move through me. And I love it, by the way. I always talk about this. I know I do. And I say it because it's just so important. But somebody in one of our viewers on YouTube, and I'm so grateful to her that she posted this, she said that she was like, I gave it a try. Like, she was having a really bad day. Like, something came up that triggered her hugely. And she said she was somewhere, so she went into the bathroom and she did this, where she sat down and she just went into the feeling, felt it as hard as she could, and let it fill up her whole body, and then felt as it moved out of the body. And then she said, yes, it worked. It dissipated. And I tell you guys, it lasts 90 seconds. If you feel your feelings as hard as you can for 90 seconds, boom, they just move out and you can't even find them anymore. And she's like, it worked. I was like, I was so psyched for her, because that's a tool. That is a tool you can use forever for everything, is to move your feelings through. But that's what they want us to do here, right? Is that they said, don't let it become dormant. Don't push it down. Let all things fly free from within. So as you're going through, that's how we move through the process and don't get stuck in the chaos. We have to experience, witness the chaos, because we can't avoid it. It's going to be all around us. Witness it. And that may be that you're witnessing it because someone you love is living right now, in Florida or, in Asheville or wherever. Like, you may be witnessing it through your experience of them, or you may be in it. You may be there, right? And when you're there, you just let it move through you. Let the fear rise up and come up, right? Become embroiled not. Surrender in no way, right, to the cacophony of chaotic voices. And this means don't surrender. Don't let yourself get lost in the fear. Don't let the fear, and what that means is don't avoid it. Don't run away from it. It's like the finger cuffs, right? Those woven finger cuffs. If you're pulling as hard as you can't get your fingers out. We have to just relax in it. And then whoosh, it just releases. Yeah. And Rodney says it does work, guaranteed, each and every time, all the time. Yes, it does. And then what are you saying? You're saying no fear. That is why. Or Joshua says no fear. That is why I hardly ever watch the news and stay away from most social media these days. I don't blame you at all. And I think you got to have a media diet for real. Yeah. And Rebecca's saying us empaths have some discernment issues around what is ours and what belongs to others. So simply letting go isn't always so simple. Yeah, and I think here's the thing I would say about that, and I'm so glad you bring it up, is because if you find that you're resonating through empathy, the key is that what that means is that whatever that person is experiencing also exists in you. And so you're almost like two tuning forks, that if you have two tuning forks next to each other and they're at the exact same frequency, if you bang one, then the other one will start to vibrate. And then they're vibrating in resonance with one another, right? The sound waves of one, because they are exactly pitched the same, the sound waves of the one will be communicated to the other, and literally it will start vibrating without even being touched. And that is the empath. And so, but if the empath doesn't carry that frequency, it cannot resonate. So what that means is if you are picking up the emotion from someone else, it means somewhere that experience you can relate to. And it's in there and it lives in you. So what you want to do is clear yours. Don't worry about their junk. Their junk is their junk, and you are not clearing them. Focus on you and recognize if they're triggering you, it's a gift. That's showing you, oh wow, I've got some, I don't know where it's from, but somewhere in my experience that's in there. Sit with it, feel it, let it come up and move it out, right? Or move it, integrate it, I would say. Yeah. So, but yeah, it is a beautiful gift of empaths that you are able to use this as a healing tool for you. Every time you get triggered, every time you resonate with someone else, it means they are giving you the gift of not having to have that experience yourself. You get to clear it just by feeling theirs. It's an amazing gift. Yeah. So, all right. So where are we? Let me go back here again to where we were. So let all things fly free. Don't become embroiled. That's the idea. And so that within that space of elevation, so as we are rising, as we go through our own rising of energy, right, that's coming from inside our soul, within that space of elevation, that which cannot be remembered within the context of the new frameworks, in other words, things that won't fit in the higher frequency, they have to be abandoned. They can't come with you. right? They go on to say, we speak to you now of the occurrences that are coming. So they kind of switch topics here. And they say, and of your own safekeeping. So they're going to start talking about what's coming. They say, we speak to you how you would elongate the times that are forming around you. It is the burdensome thinking of one who has suffered to anticipate suffering. I think that is a powerful line, right? It is the burdensome thinking of one who has suffered to anticipate suffering. And that is true, right? When you've been through something, we develop a immune response to that same experience. And we're like, oh, I'm not going to go down that path again. Like last time that really hurt, right? And so that's natural, that's human. But they're trying to say that if we go down that path, we will elongate our own suffering. The only way to get through it cleanly is to process it in real time, to let it move through you. So even if it seems scary, even if it's something that maybe you've experienced before, the key is to try to recognize when you're triggered and feel your triggers and let them move, and not let it yourself get stuck in them. Don't let it grab you, right? That's the key. Think about how it can grab you sometimes, and you just have to be super conscious of yourself. Like this is going to take, like this is the super ultra graduate course in being on the spiritual path. You know, it is about recognize in these difficult times, try to be super present with yourself and notice when you're triggered and don't let it suck you in. Yeah. Then they say, thus we would ask the selves not this. They say, don't do that, right? Don't anticipate your suffering, right? They're saying, we would say to the selves, speak unto your new tomorrows from the perspective of one who anticipates joy. Be within the framework, the mindscape of one who feels their earth a settlement of celebration. Like not easy to do. They're acknowledging this is going to be the worst of times, right? They're acknowledging, but from that space, we need to get to the space where we can start to anticipate joy. And they say, yeah, so I know it's not easy to do that, but we can do it. We can. They go on to say, interpose upon the landscape of turmoil your own suggestive fragrance of peace. Right? Be within the hearing of your own whispers and languish not in what is external. So it's really, and this is why they're all saying, close the blinds. Like you were saying, turn off the news. Like whatever you have to do to get yourself into a space where you can feel peaceful. Whatever you got to do, right? Be within your own whispers and languish not in what is external. Be not that soul who suffers what is. Be the soul that creates what becomes. It is from you that the new world emerges. That I highlighted that whole line there. I think that is so powerful. Be not the soul who suffers what is. Be the soul that creates what becomes, right? So powerful, you guys. So, and this is that perspective of recognizing it doesn't mean we deny it because that stuffs it down. You can't keep it down because you'll just get panic attacks and stuff. You got to let it up, but recognize it doesn't have to rule you. Be the observer of your feelings. Feel them, let them move. Like let all things fly free from within. That's how they describe it. Beautiful. All right, they go on to say, we would say that what is to transpire need not break the rhythm of your own hearts. It need not dim the light of your own joy. You can rise above what is, right? That is some good news, you guys. That is some very, very good news. Yeah. And Jillian is saying, I am getting so triggered and angry at this time. Oh my goodness, the help for empaths is so welcome. I love that. You understand now, gosh, lots more work to do. Absolutely. And you are not alone. Just recognize it just means you're sensitive. It doesn't mean that you're behind or anything like that if you're feeling a lot of other people's feelings. Because we all have loads of junk, loads of it. Just the minute you think you're done, you're like, woo, there's another mountain to climb. Like, yeah, we have lots. And so it's being an empath is that gift that one of the hardest things is to see ourselves, particularly the more clearing you do, because the low-hanging fruit is gone. You work on yourself and the low-hanging fruit's all gone. And it's very hard to understand where our issues are. So yeah, it's a serious thing. Yeah, I had a big one come up just the other day, you guys. I'm always telling you guys about my healing journey. So if you guys want, I'll tell you, I just cleared another doozy. And I use many different tools to find my path on my journey. I use my dreams, which I love. And by the way, you guys know that Michael Sheridan is having a dream workshop this weekend, which is free. You have to put a deposit down, but you get it back. And if you want to learn more about how to use your dreams and how to understand your dreams, his weekend, I will put the link in the description box and also here for you guys. I'll put it in so you guys have it. He is the dream interpreter, the dream analyst. That his method is the only method I use, and it rocks. It's awesome. But anyways, I use my dreams. I use astrology. I use my own connection. I use my environment. I use every tool at my disposal to try to understand my own journey. And so what just happened just for me recently is I have been, as many of you know, I brought in the mother of creation has come, and I'm now occasionally channeling her. She wants to bring through a new form of healing, which I'm super excited about, but I'm nervous. Like whenever they tell me to do a new thing and I don't know how to do it, the little girl me who thinks she has to be who thinks she can't mess up if she wants to be loved. Like that's the part. Like if I mess it up, I won't be loved, right? It's that perfectionism, right? That if I fear that if I do it wrong, and it's little girl me. And so I've had all these dreams showing me that I had these healings that I'm meant to be working with, but I have all this fear and perfectionism around them, the fear that I will do it wrong, and I couldn't figure it out. So anyways, it turns out that it is related to experiences from birth, from early childhood, and then from my first marriage. And in those experiences, I felt that I was not seen for who I was. I felt like that people were seeing through their wounding, looking at me and thinking of me negatively through nothing I could control. Right. And so it was the feeling like, oh my gosh, I have to prove to them that I'm not I'm not this thing they think I am. Right. I have to prove to them that I'm not that. And so it made me feel like I have to be extra, extra, extra good all the time, or they will think I'm the thing they think I am, right? That I have to prove to them all the time. I have to earn my place and prove my worth, right? So this was the wound I had to work through. So, and the way I do that is I sit with it. I go into the feelings of it. I bring them up. And I work with the angels. I ask for the angels for help, and they come in and they help to move and lift things through and help me process my feelings. And then boom, immediately my dreams will change. So that is the most recent thing that I cleared. And so now I'm practicing this method of healing, and again, my dreams have shifted and showed me there's still a couple things I have to work on, but it's a process. We are never done. And so that's the thing. If you're like, oh my gosh, I'm triggered all the time, like don't feel bad. It's because that's a gift, because you can see yourself, and I would not have seen. Like it would have been very, very hard for me to figure out what the issue was. I would have just known I didn't feel right, or I felt nervous about doing this new thing. It would have been extremely hard for me to figure out what was at the root of it or how to even heal it, right? So those of you who have the triggers, go with it. Like love that about yourselves, because it's a gift. It's an absolute gift. So the more we do, the harder it is to understand, because it gets deep into the subconscious. It gets deep underneath layers. Yeah, it's hard to see. So, okay, so then they go on to say, this is not to say that there will not be disconcerting news. An element of surprise is waiting to be yielded. There must be the upsetting of things that are relied upon, and these occurrences are formulated not in the specific, but in the general guidance of a world that must right itself. So there's in this paragraph, or in this bit here, they're saying an element of surprise is waiting to be yielded. I believe there is some surprising news in the near coming events, something that will be surprising, that will be very disconcerting. Surprise. So they're saying an element of, and they've talked about this, that it's going to be something about news that we get, things that we hear, that and there could be multiple, because it could be different things. So but yeah, so there's something, there's a surprise element of surprise waiting to be yielded, something on the horizon that's going to surprise us. It's going to be very upsetting. There must be the upsetting of things that are relied upon, and these occurrences are formulated, they're saying, not in the specific, but in the general guidance of a world that must right itself. So this is that idea that there are energies that have to express, and they could express in a variety of ways. So it may come up in more than one way. This idea of unsettling news, of surprise, out of left field, didn't see it coming, and then here it is, and it's something related to something we relied on or counted upon. And this could happen generally in the world in general. It could happen to us individually. So this is sort of what they're saying is coming in the near, Anne said personally or collectively. Could be both. I think here they're speaking definitely in the collective, but it could also happen in the personal. So, and the collective could become the personal, right? It could be something you counted on that is affecting everyone. So some kind of a surprise. And they say that has been within. They say that has been within the doldrums of missed opportunity. Oh, okay. It has to happen in order for the world to right itself. The world has been in the doldrums of missed opportunity and must come again into harmony with itself, as if a boat has turned over and comes again into its own internal balance, righting itself. So this is that idea. It's literally like it has to be. Things have to be expressed and have to be kind of worked through in order for things to kind of come back into harmony in terms of our world. Yeah. And Sharon says every upheaval is a step or many steps closer to our new world. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely agree. And Dawn is guessing that it involves the election. I think it could involve election. I think it could involve economy. I think it could be, and I think there could be there's stuff in there that it's like, it feels like it's stuff like, that it feels like we've been betrayed or that we've been lied to or something like that. Like it's surprise, like, wait a minute, this is not, there's something in it that it feels like there's some wrongdoing or some kind of like something, like hidden stuff, some kind of, yeah, something like that. That is like, that's a surprise. It's like, wait a minute, this is not the truth. Like there's some serious violation of truth is what we feel, I think, coming up. And then it has repercussions that affect things we count on. And so that, like I said, it could come out in economy, it could come out in politics. So it's an energy. And so they have given us a lot of information about things that could happen. And so it could play out in any of those scenarios. Yeah. And Jay is guessing totally economic. Yeah. And there could be a thing like, imagine, let's just talk. We've been talking about banks and difficulty with banks. And we've been talking about what if the reasons the banks shut are not the reason that we were told they were shut, right? Like maybe there's something there. You just don't know. We just don't know. We'll just see. We'll see what happens, right? So, and you're saying Pam Gregory is talking about all the things being revealed. Yeah, I totally agree. And Rodney says after any upheaval, it is your choice to walk up or walk down. Yes, I am talking about frequency. I totally agree. Yeah, absolutely. And then Lacey says, I also think it will be many things. Oops, I missed your comment that I was just reading. And it says, we have to use discernment more and more. For instance, the mainstream news didn't accurately show what was going on here in the aftermath of Helene. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So let's get back to where I was on this. So, oh no, did I lose my place? There it is. Okay, here I am. We say that in the context of this earth, there shall be turmoil of a physical kind. There shall be upsetting news, which shall, and this is, they're saying upsetting news, and which shall distance yourselves from one another. So this is news that could polarize even further, right? Polarize us. There shall be the anticipation of greater war and separation among nations and peoples. There shall be an economic unfurling as disastrous as any you've anticipated, and for this we are sorry. We understand that the souls, as you are made in this plane, have an experience of needing certainty, have an experience of wishing upon all things for preparation, to be resolved within your own needs, your own families, your own endowment. So here they're saying they know that it's a crazy time and that we as humans, being in a human body, we really want to have our ducks in a row and we want to know that we're going to be okay, right? We want reassurance. We want to know that the systems are going to be here, that our jobs are going to be reliable. We're going to be able to count on our income and count on having the shelves full at the grocery store and count on all these things. And they're saying they recognize that there's going to be a lot of disruption. And they have often said, when we worry about this, they say, not all things happen everywhere. That you, where you are, you may have one thing happen. Not all things happen. That they told us that we can navigate through this. They say it's not for long. That the key is to focus on, as one thing destructs, literally from that same energy, the phoenix rises in the same moment. So focus on that. And that is how we don't prolong it. They say, feel the grief and move right through it. Go right into what's emerging from it. And look for particularly, how are people coming together? How are new communities forming? How are we being uplifted through the process? How are we finding ourselves more deeply? So, and then later on down here at the bottom of the paragraph, they tell us one of the main reasons we can feel okay is because we will be different and we will be creating our reality in a new way. Yeah, which is the most exciting of all, right? That's what we can lean into. So, So here they are. But lots of stuff they do talk about here, and I know it's not easy to hear, you guys. They go on to say, and we would say, why, the blessing of these times can always be felt. Here it is. So why is it in all of these difficult things that are coming, why can we always find the blessing in these things? What is it about these difficult, hard things that we can point to and say, here is the blessing? And here's what they say. They say, it is because there is not the same need in the empowered state of your own becoming. So they're saying that need for certainty, for preparation, where we worry about our families, we worry about ourselves being okay. They say in our heightened state of consciousness, we no longer feel that way. That we don't worry about, we have this faith in ourselves as creators. We have this faith in our world as providing for us. That we lose that same stuff that gives us all the fear right now. They say that goes away. So that is why we will always be able to feel the blessing in these times. They say there's not the need to anticipate, to generate harmony from within your own actions, from within your own opportunity, created from within your own intelligence. In other words, we won't feel like it's all on us. We won't feel like I have to do everything. Like I won't worry that like, wow, if I don't, do whatever it is, go chop the wood, go do the shopping, then it won't happen. Like, you know what I mean? Like right now you feel like you've got to think ahead and try to imagine what are all the terrible things so I can make sure I have everything I need. Like they're saying that's not going to be the case. Like that's how we are today. We think we have to do it all. And they say there is instead the ability to remain within the freedom of your own exuding nature. And within the space of your own happiness, you create a world without friction. So they're saying that as we shift our frequency, as we move to this higher state of consciousness, we manifest in our reality in a really different way. That we are able to live in a world with less friction. That what we need comes to us. That it's not the way it's been. So we don't have the same fear that I'm going to be in lack, right? And we have left the lack behind. We separate from that old karma of lack, right? We separate from that as we move into this higher state of frequency. So this is the truth of it. They're saying that as we think of it right now, we're thinking about it from our current state of being. And we are changing. Every bit of light that hits this planet, we are changing. Yeah. So they go on to say, we say that these angularities which you will be experiencing are not for long. So angularities are things that are like an angle, things that are not in alignment. They're at an angle to one another, not comfortable, right? These angularities are like, this isn't going right, And they're saying these things, these sort of discomforts or difficult things that we're experiencing are not for long. They are the twisting of a world that must right itself. They cannot be. So imagine that. I imagine that as the boat is trying to come back up, and it's not going to come up all at once. It's going to twist and turn and finally come up, right? It's like it's not a smooth path to get back to straight up again. They say it cannot be done. It must be gone through. So this is that idea that it has to be experienced because the earth itself has the same desire that we do, which is the desire to be seen. So we have to witness this process. Right? That's part of the reason we're here, is to witness this massive disruption, change, and the fragmentation of everything that we count on, and then see from that, literally in the same moment, the rebirth. We're witnessing it. And so they say it has to be gone through. It must be celebrated for what it is, as an endowment, as a space of experience and expression. So it deserves to exist, right? We have to be the witness. They go on to say, what has long been undone and unknown must rise to the surface to be seen. And these experiences, though disturbing in some cases, and here's where they interrupt themselves. This is where the energy, as I was channeling, this is the one energy is coming through, and then this energy, a second energy comes in and says, don't forget to mention. It's almost like they said, we want to add this in, which is this energy of compassion, which I love, and the compassion for what we've been going through. So they say what has long been undone and unknown must rise to the surface to be seen. So this is like, think of like the Me Too movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, all these movements about like things that have existed that we've been in denial about, that rise to the surface to be seen, right? All the things that are polarizing that have to be witnessed in order to heal. They cannot just be brushed under the rug, right? Anything brushed under the rug stays under the rug. It's got to come out, and we have to see it, and through witnessing it, we clear it. That's how we do it. We have to witness, we have to love the world, love ourselves, love everyone in spite of, and because of what exists, right? So, Yeah. So, and these experiences, though disturbing in some cases, and here they interrupt themselves, they say, and we are in a great orchestration of our own experience of your suffering in these places of anguish on this plane of experience. They're saying that they are, what they're saying here is they are super present with us everywhere that suffering is happening. We are in a great orchestration of our own experience of your suffering. So the angels are right there with us in all of our suffering, helping, right? In these places of anguish on this plane of experience. So that's what they're saying. Everywhere there's anguish, they are there helping in droves, right? But we would say, despite these saddening times, there will be the rise of your own space and spaciousness. There will be the sense of yourself as becoming more free. So this is the phoenix rising from the ashes, right? That in the moment of things falling apart, we find our freedom. Yeah. And they say, and how you will feel this within the context of what appears to be limitation, we can only say that the one justifies the next. So this is, they're saying, how does it happen that if you're in a place where you feel like all of your freedom has just been taken away, right? What if you're living in a war zone? What if you're living in a place that's been struck by a natural disaster? You know, they're saying that in that environment, the one justifies the next. So they're saying, how does it emerge? Like as you're surrounded by chaos, where's the phoenix? What is it that's rising? Lisa's saying, that's why I live in Phoenix. That's funny. So how does it rise from that moment? And it's going to be very personal to every person. Like, where is your freedom within that? There is a freedom. I will tell you that when I left my second marriage, I literally walked out with my Vitamix blender. It was like I literally, I left with nothing. I left with my blender. I'm a vegan. You got to have a Vitamix blender. So I took that. And I went back, once, and I had 5 hours to just take what I absolutely needed. And I had moved, I had to find a place desperately. I found a small place to rent. I didn't have that much space in it. And so I kind of cataloged what I could fit in the space. And I took only that. And I left I've had a lifetime of beautiful things I left behind without a second thought. And I took only what I needed. And you would think, oh my gosh, you left behind. Like, I can't believe you gave up this, and this, like all these great things. And you know what? It was absolutely liberating to have only what I needed. Felt incredible. I loved it. I would open a cupboard, even though the place wasn't huge. I'd open a cupboard and I would have like 4 towels perfectly folded. You know what I mean? I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And so there is in the chaos, I found freedom. Yeah, the one justified the next. So for each of us, it's going to be different how that shows up. Like, where's the freedom? When we are freed from the things that we thought we needed, anything we think we need, right, is shackles. And when we're released from it, we realize we're fine without it. That is freedom. Yeah. So that in the experience of the turmoil, there is yet more to be found of your own soul. There is the freedom of your own feelings, the sensation of your own heart being met by one another. Right? So that is beautiful, just beautiful. And Donna's saying, I'm leaving my job the 1st of January and I can already feel the liberation of that energy. Yeah, right? Like maybe you're freed from a job and you don't think it's freedom, but then it really is. And you realize, wow, that was not a good job for me, or not a good place to be, or wasn't supportive, right? Yeah. The anguish of these times that are passing has been the limitation of your own context. So the reason why these times are in anguish, the reason why we experience them as hard, is because of the context we've been in. We've been in a context of suffering. And so we experience loss as suffering rather than freedom. What if we associated loss with freedom? What if we assumed that loss was like a snake shedding its skin and it was something that was too tight for us? So we had to let go of it and release it. And when we let it go, all of a sudden we get to expand. And what if that's what we thought loss was? But we are conditioned to think of loss as suffering. So here's a total proof of that, you guys. So there is a study done, this has been like a documented study or whatever, about in a university where they were studying college kids and their attachment to things that they own. And what they did is they got like 2 groups, and one group they tried to sell them a coffee mug, and they said, how much would you pay for this coffee mug? And they were like, $3. I'd pay $3 for that coffee mug. The control group, they gave them the coffee mug and said, this is your mug, and they let them keep it for a week. And they got to use it and drink coffee out of it. And then after a week, they said, okay, we want to buy back those coffee mugs from you. How much do they cost? And they said like $5, $8, $10, right? Same mug. but the value increased because it belonged to them, because they associated it as their coffee mug. And it's almost like they take it into their identity and said, this is part of who I am. This is my mug, right? And they think it's much more valuable. So we value the things that we own or that are part of us much more highly than the things that are not. So loss feels painful, right? And so but that is the context we are in. We're in this context where we experience it as suffering. And they're saying that, well, if you had the ability to manifest a life without friction, then you wouldn't feel the same way about loss. You would feel like it was just freeing you up to experience something better. The one justifies the next. Yeah. And the anguish of these times that are passing have been the limitation of your own context, your separation, your individuality. It has brought you nearer to your own soul and farther from each other. And in the context of these new framings, you shall find a new kind of freedom. So literally, in the freeing from solitude and from aloneness, as we move into unity consciousness, we will find a new kind of freedom. A new kind of peace amongst one another, and loneliness shall no longer bind you to yourself. Gorgeous. They say, we wish to place upon you a blessing for those who are encountering grief, for those who are unsettled within your own homes and without friendship. So those are people who've maybe lost their homes, right? For those who have been brought to their knees in these times and these contexts. The rigidity of this world is crumbling. And these structures that have been relied upon are no longer meeting the demands of an earth that reaches for freedom. And you are this. You are this. You are speaking into the wind, free me. And you are heard. I love that last paragraph. So beautiful. So that is it. That they're no longer that the structures that are crumbling are structures that keep us from being free. And that is what is being destroyed, right? So incredible, so incredible. And in the scope of a reality where we trust that we have the ability to manifest what we need, there is no such thing as loss. There is only release. Yeah, incredible. Yeah. And then Sandy says, it's hard when you lose people you love, but we can also remember that they are free now and came back to source. Isn't that true? Everybody who here's the truth about that. Thank you for bringing it up, Sandy. Everybody who has a near-death experience says they don't want to come back. Right? That is freedom. And yeah, so we think of this as like, oh my gosh, they lost their life. No, they gained freedom. Yeah. They come back because they feel they have unfinished business or because they don't want to abandon their loved ones. But they're like, yeah, it's not easy coming back because that is freedom. Yeah. And Natalie says, I have lived in Abu Dhabi for 17 years and never seen a snake. And in the last 2 weeks, I have found 2 tiny snakes in my bathroom. I'm sure that they are bringing a message of renewal. Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Yeah. Isn't it incredible how we have those physical signs that show up in our life? I love that. Love that. I had that happen one time at one of my retreats. One of the guys at the retreat went off for a walk by himself around the beaver pond, and he asked the angels, he's like, if this is real, give me a sign. Like if you guys are real, if I'm connected to the angels, bring me a sign. And literally, as he was sitting on a bench and as he thought it, a hummingbird flew right in front of him, just hovered like right there, and then stayed there for a couple minutes and then flew away. He's like, okay, thank you. How cool is that? How cool. So, all right, you guys, beautiful, beautiful message today. Thank you so much for sharing it with me. I love going through this with you. I get my understanding deepens so much as we talk about it. So I'm sending you guys tons of love. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget, if you want to go to Michael Sheridan's weekend event, it is I think it's this weekend. I'll put the link in it. So if you want to go, it is free. Like I said, you have to put a deposit down, but you get your money back. And it's really cool. You'll learn a ton about your dreams if you go. And that's, you guys know, I think it is this incredible connection we have to source, where you're getting, or to your higher self, where you're getting, deep downloads about your journey and how you can heal. So you don't want to miss out. So I'll put the link for you guys. All right, you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you later.